Hey folks, Comet here, and this is the part 2, Mr. Slorg. It's all your show.
Howdy there, welcome back to the Character Chaos tournament. Now the first half went pretty well, there were a few upsets. What do you think, Comet? How do you think things went so far?
Hey, everything went swimmingly so far, boss.
Cool, how about you, Pumpkin? I do believe one of your favorite characters was eliminated.
Yeah, Mr. Magoo. He's Mr. Magon.
He's Mr. Magon. Alright, well, getting right back into it, I've got the next character here in my hands, and we have none other than Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee versus...
The legend, Bruce Lee.
He's just human. He can't really beat anything.
No, well, he was the best martial artist of the known world, but he's still human. That is true.
Yeah, but he still died, so he's not that good a martial artist.
Well, everybody dies, funny man.
He does have to compete at his most powerful, so he will be alive for the tournament.
The zombie Bruce Lee.
I probably did way too much research on all these characters than I needed to, but I do have some of his powers. Peak human physicality, and arguably the world's best martial artist. Early odds of survival were 50%, and I've got a few nice facts here that we'll quickly run through. Lee's striking speed from 3 feet with his hands down by his side reached 0.05 of a second. He could take in one arm a 75-pound barbell, and from a standing position with the barbell held flush against his chest, slowly stick his arms out and locking them, and hold the barbell there for quite some time. In a speed demonstration, he could snatch a dime off a person's open palm before they could close it, and leave a penny behind. He was known for performing one-handed push-ups using only his thumb and index finger. He could perform 50 reps of a one-armed chin-up. And he could cause a 300-pound bag to fly towards and thump the ceiling with a single side kick. He would also hold an elevated sitting position for 30 minutes or longer. He once knocked out a 3-time champion British boxer Gary Elms in 3 rounds. He flew into a rage and went after a Chinese gang member who sucker punched him, knocking the man out and breaking his arm. He knocked out Uechi, I think I pronounced it right, Uechi, yes, a Japanese black belt karateka in 11 seconds while scoring 15 hits and a kick in 11 seconds. And he once KO'd a man who broke into his house and challenged him to a fight in his yard with a single kick. Not too shabby for Mr. Bruce Lee. What do you think, Pumpkin? Do you think he's got a chance against some of the characters we've seen?
Hell yeah.
I guess I don't really like Bruce Lee that much.
He is the human martial, the best in the human, but I don't know. I think he's got a chance. I think his chance is good as any.
Yeah, I think with Bruce Lee, he represents probably the best form a normal human being could possibly be in. Probably. He knows his martial arts. I mean, he originated Jeet Kune Do, which basically, I mean, he decided to look at martial arts and said, you know what, I like this part of it, and I'm going to improve this part of it. And there we go, he made it his own. However, he is indeed just human. He's not going to survive against a bullet if his opponent is armed, probably. We'll have to find out. Let's have a look at the next contender.
I'll be Scrooge McDuck.
Very, very close. This is, entering the tournament, Ray Romano.
Ray Romano's dead. Well, yeah, he's dead.
Yeah.
Ray Romano. Everybody loves Raymond.
Everyone's dead. Everyone's dead, Raymond.
Everybody loves dead Raymond. Yeah, I believe he will be knocked out almost immediately. I don't even think he had any special powers.
No.
Comedy. And making his wife mad. That's a special power.
Every guy has that power.
His major power was Emmy-winning comedy performances. That's about it.
Bruce Lee doesn't have a sense of humor. Bruce Lee just kills things, right?
Ray Romano enters the tournament with absolutely no real powers at all. He isn't even physically fit, so his strength, agility, and speed are in question. He does, however, possess an uncanny ability to throw one-liners. Against Bruce Lee, don't think it's going to happen. Pretty sure Bruce Lee did not laugh to death. So
Bruce Lee didn't have much of a humor sense anyway.
No sense of humor whatsoever, as far as I could tell. So I think Bruce Lee probably kicks him once and breaks his neck.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then his body, he spins his neck so hard when he kicks it, his head flies off like a cork.
I think, Bruce Lee performs a fatality, unlike Liu Kang, who was smoked in the first round. Bruce Lee, I think it's unanimous, moves on to the next round.
Fatality.
Speaking, this next contender was mentioned just a few seconds ago. We have Scrooge McDuck.
I like him better than Scrooge Ebenezer. At least Scrooge McDuck is a really good fighter.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen Ebenezer Scrooge versus Scrooge McDuck, but Ebenezer's dead, so that's not going to happen.
Ebenezer Scrooge would probably crap himself when he saw an anthropomorphic duck.
Now we do, let's not underestimate Scrooge McDuck. Major powers, he is extremely fit for his age.
Yeah, he's also rich.
He's rich, he's extremely fit for his age, and he actually is a trained swordsman. Not that he uses the sword. In the comics, now this was before DuckTales came along. In the comics that you would have found, in the daily paper, he was a trained swordsman. He knows how to use a sword, and you can see some of that in DuckTales when he swings his cane around like a sword. So let's not underestimate him. We will assume that he...
and he's also extremely intelligent.
And he is quite intelligent, indeed. He might be greedy. He might be a little selfish. But he should not be underestimated. Depends on who he goes up against, which is King Leonidas.
That's what I was just thinking. King Leonidas, let's see. I think King Leonidas would just bash him in the head with his shield and gut him like a fish.
Pretty much.
And have him for dinner, probably.
Now, Leonidas, I don't know if anybody doesn't know who he is, but he was the man behind, the man that 300 was about.
Thermopylae.
Major powers, Spartan training and being a badass. Early odds of survival were 55%.
Uh-huh.
He led a troop of 300 Spartans into a war against King Xerxes' men, who actual estimated recounts. Well, we have it's actually hard to nail down because this is an actual historical moment, apparently. And the estimates go anywhere between 2 million soldiers with an additional 3 million attendants, courtesans, and workers, and down to several 100,000. So who knows how many people he took on? He did end up dying, but that was only after a betrayal. So King Leonidas, Spartan training. He's got a sword or a spear, probably both. Probably has a shield. I think he looks at Scrooge McDuck, and I don't think he would waste too much time.
You know what he says? You know what he says to that goat, boss? This is what he says.
This is Sparta!
And that scream was Scrooge McDuck flying through the air to his death.
Exactly.
Pumpkin, you agree, or...
I said that King Leonidas bashes him with his shield and then just guts him like a fish, so yeah.
There you go. King Leonidas. Easy victory over Scrooge McDuck. And that will be that for that particular session. Here we go with the next contender. We have another heavyweight. We do have Neo from the Matrix.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
Well, he's Superman. You can't beat Neo.
He made it into the battle. Neo, as we all know, he pretty much the Lord of the Matrix now and is most powerful. Quite a few powers. Now, as usual, we have to assume that they are fighting in the Matrix. However, Neo's powers were suggested that he could pretty much do anything. Like, if he really wanted to, he could make somebody cease to exist. Sort of. But we're only using powers that have been observed. Therefore, just like Morpheus before him, he can't quite just, obliterate whoever his opponent is. Powers that have been observed quickly. In theory, his powers are limited only by his imagination. In reality, Neo has been shown to actually have limits to his powers, as he does become fatigued if kept in combat for too long. Now, his abilities do include telekinesis, the ability to fly at Mach 7 speeds, enhanced jumping ability, superhuman strength and agility, limited invulnerability to the extent where he can survive attacks that would normally kill or disable normal humans, resurrecting the recently deceased, which isn't really going to help him in this tournament, limited precognition, similar to a spider sense, expert level training in aviation, explosives, handguns, assault weapons, heavy weapons, bladed weapons, stabs, kung fu, kenpo, jiu-jitsu, karate, eskrima, drunken boxing, taekwondo, and wushu.
And he can bend spoons with his mind.
Yeah. I feel sorry for his opponent, who is...
Probably Carnage.
Strawberry shortcake.
No. The Green Hornet.
He's dead. Green Hornet's
dead. Die. You're fucked. End of story.
Green Hornet has absolutely no chance. His only powers... He did have genius intelligence, and he was an expert hand-to-hand combatant, but that's not going to help him against Neo. Neo probably kicks him about 100 million times before he can even think twice. I think we're agreed on that one. Green Hornet.
That's agreed.
Is immediately smoked. Neo doesn't even think twice. He just flies over there, punches through his skull.
Doesn't he have like lightning powers too? Can't he just shock him?
I don't have it listed as an observed ability, but maybe, I don't know. I can't remember.
He just thinks that he can just do it.
Yeah, he could do it, but I haven't observed him doing it. Next contender, we have Jason Bourne from the Bourne series.
Oh, Lord. Anything with Matt Damon make my head hurt. I'm sorry, but unless he's going to win by bad acting, I sincerely doubt it.
Now, we're not talking about Matt Damon. We are talking about Jason Bourne himself. So, let's see what Jason Bourne has. Probably not much.
Basically, he's a really good fighter, and he can speak multiple languages. That's it.
I've got here advanced weapons and combat training. That's about it. He is a good fighter, good hand-to-hand combatant. He is trained in, let's see. He's trained in handguns, assault weapons, knives, explosives, sniping, stealth, survival, and hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah, like I said.
Not bad. Not bad for a human. On the other hand, he has to go up against High Lord Verminard from the Dragonlance series of novels, and
I have no idea. I have no idea about High Lord Badmrpumpkin, but I think he's gonna kill him.
Well, Verminard, this actually could be a decent battle because Verminard is described as being very strong. He's basically think of one of those stereotypical, very strong, blonde, tall individuals.
Like Beowulf.
Yeah, very similar to Beowulf. He does command an entire dragon army. However,
he have dragons?
Well, let's see. I do believe that we allowed him to have the dragon simply because he virtually never allowed himself to be separated from his dragon, whose name was, if I can remember, I can't remember, Ember. Let's see. Major powers. Oh, he does have dark clerical powers. He was one of the first evil characters to regain powers granted by the gods in the Dragonlance series. He can blind opponents with a magical mace named Midnight. He does have to say Midnight. That's sort of the magic's word or whatever. But as he says that, if he hits you with the mace, you are blind.
Or if you're probably dead.
On top of that, let's see. At his most powerful, as well as a person. Yeah, he does have his dragon with him. This is the only character who is allowed to have outside help, specifically because the outside help is almost never outside, if you know what I mean.
Born is dead. Born is dead. He's toasted by dragon breath.
I think the dragon breathes on him, and that's pretty much it. I don't think Jason Bourne has any chance against a dragon and a crazy cleric. Sorry, Jason Bourne, Matt Damon fans, you're out of luck.
It'd be interesting to see that one guy. What is his name? High Lord Verminon in a single combat against Beowulf. I think Beowulf would kill him.
That would have been interesting. Yeah, I think without even with the dragon, because Beowulf did overcome a dragon. He died, but
well, that was because he was old. He was old when that happened.
Yeah, that's true. Next contender, we have anyone who is a fan of the Spoonie Experiment will be excited about this one. We have Curtis Craig from Phantasmagoria 2, A Puzzle of Flesh.
Oh, Lord.
Curtis. I heard that, Curtis. Not a very powerful contender at all. Basically, his major power is hallucinating. That's pretty much all he does in the game. Is he hallucinates. Quick backstory for anyone who's not familiar: he is the protagonist of Sierra Entertainment's Phantasmagoria 2, A Puzzle of Flesh. In the game, he at first appears to be a normal, boring individual who works at a boring office job. As the game progresses, you find out that he's an extraordinary and boring individual working at an evil company attempting to harness the power of beings from Dimension X. He possesses the ability to suffer through hallucinations and other horrifying things and still manage to survive despite being entirely unremarkable in any real way. Now, I'm not going to give away one of the endings, but he has a suggestion of possible more powers, but they've never been observed. And he did kill, like a freaky demon thing. So he's got that on his side. However, going up against Carnage, Marvel Comics' Carnage, I don't think he is going to stand much of a chance.
Yeah, even if he manages to kill the human host, the Carnage symbiote would just bond with him, and then he's dead. He's just taken over anyway.
Pretty much. That's exactly what I'm thinking. Now, people who aren't familiar, I do have to explain this real quick. Carnage is an alien symbiote, meaning he's basically a parasite.
Absolutely, and he feeding on the host and using the host as his medium, and there's been quite a few of those. There's one of Wolverine, there's so on and so forth.
Yep. Now, the most recognizable version of Carnage was when he was as Cletus Cassidy, who was a serial killer. And this made a very, very angry and murderous version of Carnage. He only has one real major weakness, and that's high-intensity sound waves. Because with those, you can force the symbiote off of the victim, and it's rendered pretty much harmless for a very short period of time. So the only way you're really going to get Carnage is if you use the sound waves somehow, and then somehow find a way to, I guess it'd be similar to the Blob, maybe freeze him, do something to keep him from getting away. But you only really have a short time to do it. And against Curtis Craig, I think Carnage probably eats his head.
Yeah, agreed.
We have agreements. I think that's pretty much straightforward. Unanimous. Curtis Craig. We're sorry, Spoony fans, but
Yeah.
your hero does not survive.
It'll be interesting to see the symbiote itself against the blob. Who do you think would win?
That would be an awesome battle, and it may actually come to pass. We'll see, but they both made it to the next round. The final contenders in the first round, we have Hiro Nakamura from Heroes.
Oh, Lord.
Hiro Nakamura. Now, this was actually the very first character to be revealed on the website. And for those of you who aren't aware, Heroes was a show about ordinary people who discovered that they had superpowers. Hiro in particular had the power to manipulate space and time, more or less.
Yeah, I don't think you can really beat him. Even the blob would die against him. He'd just go back in time before the bomb was made and destroy him.
Yeah, the Hero is going to be one of those who, at first, you wouldn't think he's that powerful, but once you realize just what he can do, he becomes one of the most powerful characters in this tournament. Time and space manipulation, teleportation, early out of survival, 70%. Now, as per the rules, we have to use him as his most powerful version, and that will be his future self. In the show, he basically starts off not really in control of his power at all. He accidentally teleports himself to various time frames and teleports himself around, not really sure of himself, hasn't really seen many battles or anything, and he's kind of a wimp, more or less. His future self, however, visits him in the series, is far more confident, wielded his powers with way more precision, and is also a master swordsman at this point, who suffers none of the ill side effects that present-day Hero suffers when using his powers. Because present-day Hero often gets headaches and has some pretty bad side effects when using his powers more than once. So quite powerful. What do you think, Pumpkin? Well, first of all, do you know of Hiro Nakamura? And
yes, I do. I know of him. I don't think you can't beat him. All he has to do is stop time and cut you into pieces, and then we put it back together.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard to find a way to get around that power.
There is no way.
However, I do think we have found someone who could possibly do it. We have Spawn.
Oh, nope. I don't think so, because it would work. Because the Hellspawn might be powerful, and I do like Spawn, but unfortunately, the time once you stop time, you can't move. So all you have to do is decapitate him, and that's the first thing anyone would do anyway, naturally. So Spawn is dead. I like Spawn, but I mean you can't beat time manipulation.
Well, let's see. Let's quickly go over things that we've seen Spawn do. Major power is immortality, for one thing. So that doesn't necessarily mean he can't die. That just means he won't die of old age. He doesn't age or anything like that. He can fly, teleport, and more. Let's see. First of all, Spawn is immortal, kind of. He can't be killed until he uses up all of his power, which is limited. Once the last bit of power is used up, that's it. In addition to this, he possesses super speed, strength, endurance, durability. He can fly, teleport, shapeshift, read minds, use magic, and shoot energy blasts, has a healing factor, and wears a living symbiotic costume capable of thinking and moving for itself.
He also in the new, after he kills Malbolgia, eventually he becomes greater than God and Satan, and basically he just makes them go away. So that's like his most powerful is basically power beyond God and Satan.
Now here's the thing. The problem here is he's got these massive powers. Can he manipulate time and space?
No,
No,
but
no.
when he's at his most powerful after he eats the apples of creation or whatever you call them, then he can do whatever he wants to. Basically, he's more powerful than God on Earth. So if you want to do that, him that powerful, then nothing can beat him. Literally.
Interesting.
Cheese in a can.
We have two characters here who are nearly impossible to kill.
No hero's immortal, so you can spawn. I mean, well, actually, Hero could just stop time and just stab him and stab him and stab him and stab him until he doesn't regenerate anymore, and then Spawn would die. But it depends on what.
It's so hard to say. This is a hard one.
What spawn do you want to use? Do you want to use the spawn where he has basically unlimited power, or the normal spawn?
We have to use his most powerful form, but when he's... Now here's a question, because I'm unfamiliar with this part of it. When he is that powerful, does he have the limited powers like he normally does? I mean,
no,
he can do whatever he wants, but does he run out of power, so to speak?
Nope. Well, I mean, basically what happens is he does it, and then once he gets rid of God and Satan, basically he's like that for, I guess, a couple, maybe one comic book, like one book, and then once he gets rid of God and Satan, his powers are kind of taken away by the all-in-one of like the ultimate God. But yeah, basically, his powers are unlimited and limitless. He can do whatever he wants to.
I guess this one might come down to which nearly impossible to kill hero do we keep? Because it could go either way, really.
Spawn, when he has the powers of beyond a god, would kill Hero, because all he has to do is say you're not existing, and Hero's gone. So yeah, it's kind of hard.
However, if we do allow Spawn to continue in that form, then there is clearly nothing that could beat him.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. So the rest of the tournament would be, let's just wait until Spawn arrives. However, if we let Hero through, then it's just a matter of, is there anyone who is so fast that they could get him before he does that little wink thing of his to stop time?
Kenshin.
I think there is, yes. I think Kenshin could potentially do it if they were to battle it out. That leaves a lot of stuff up to question. I think just for the sake of having a good tournament, I'm going to say Hero takes Spawn out. Simply because if Spawn survives, nothing could possibly beat him.
Yeah.
I know that's kind of cheap. It's a little bit cheap. Spawn fans will be very angry. However, for the sake of the tournament, I think Hero manages to blink just before Spawn thinks. More or less. But what do you guys think? I don't want to take the decision all by myself.
Well, I mean, it's kind of cheap because with Spawn had powers beyond God, no mortal magic or mortal powers could affect him. But and we don't want to just like have Spawn say, just be there, and everything he just says, "I am God." Everything else is destroyed, and all the other combatants just disappear in like smoke. So
yeah.
I guess it's better if Hero just like. I guess we should just go with the movie and say to decapitate the dead, they're dead. So Hero just stops time and decapitates Spawn before Spawn knows what happened. So there, he's dead.
What do you think, Comet?
Agreed. That's logical, I suppose.
That is logical. Now, something that I didn't mention at first, whoever does win the tournament, they get retired. So this is to prevent future tournaments from being bogged down by overly powerful characters, such as Godspawn or Hiro Nakamura. So yeah, whoever does win the tournament will be retired, and they'll be able to enjoy life, so to speak. And that's the end of round 1. I'll leave it up to you guys if you want to breeze through the next rounds and find an ultimate victor, or end it here.
I'd like to end it here because I have to go next. I think that Heroes. I think that Heroes gonna win because, frankly, all he has to do is go back in time to whenever these characters were made or born and kill them. Like, he go back in time when Kenshin's a baby and kill Kenshin baby. So, he kind of wins.
True, but it would, he does have to see who his opponent is first.
Yeah.
So it's arguable as to whether, because Kenshin's so fast that you can't even see him, he would have to, Hero would have to actually have time to register that little tiny flash that he just saw before he gets slain. So
also, you got to know exactly who you're fighting too. So to know exactly time and place where he was born, blah 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 blah. It ain't instantaneous. You automatically know all this stuff. You have to know exactly when they were born, blah blah blah. The power of Google, it works, but I'm just saying. It all depends. Someone could drop a blast on him, something fierce, and he could get boned really hard.
I think the Blob is the only thing that could really kill Hero.
So if you have the element of surprise, you'll kick that Hero's ass from here to next week. But if you don't, well, that's your own damn fault.
I think the Blob, if Kenshin beats Hero, then the Blob will beat everybody else because you can't beat the Blob. It'll just absorb you.
I know who can beat the Blob.
Mr. Freeze.
The Green Arrow. If did Green Arrow survive?
Yeah,
I don't know. Let me check.
Yeah, he did. He was fighting the Sawyer. He killed Sawyer.
Yeah, Green Arrow could beat the Blob because Green Arrow has freezing arrows.
Well, doesn't he also have an arrow that creates like a black hole or something, like an Omega arrow or something?
I haven't seen it, but it could exist.
In the Justice League, he had an arrow like that. It's called a quantum arrow.
Quantum arrow, yeah, that's what it is. That could beat him.
Also, Carnage versus the Blob would be interesting because would the Blob eat Carnage or would Carnage eat the Blob?
It depends on what. It depends on if the blob's physiology can absorb alien matter. I don't really know.
Is Carnage even, can Carnage even be harmed by acid? Because you assume the Blob is sort of acidic in
I guess it depends. Can the Blob make any noise? Flash Gordon would not beat the Blob. The Blob would just blob him.
Has Flash Gordon ever used a frost type?
No.
I haven't seen all the serials and everything, so I couldn't really tell you.
Okay. I haven't seen it.
I know that if he had a setting or something on his laser, so if he just hit the Blob and it heated the Blob up enough so the Blob evaporated, it would kill the Blob. So
Neo
I don't know.
could beat the Blob too.
Well,
it really depends on who gets teamed up against who. That will be the big deciding factor as to who gets through, because I think at this point each character still has a weakness against one of the other characters. It just depends on who gets teamed up as far as who survives.
Do you think that Bruce Lee could beat Flash Gordon?
Probably.
I don't see.
Yeah.
No, Flash Gordon has a laser. A laser goes faster than light. You can't move faster than light.
But Bruce Lee does move pretty darn quick.
Yeah, well, all you have to do is hold up the gun and press it, and then you're dead. So, you can't move faster than light. You can't predict what a person's gonna aim and dodge that. It's light.
True. Well, it'll be interesting. But yeah, if you guys want to, if you do want to stop it here, we can move on next week with the next round, because it'll be a much shorter round, because it's normally, from here on out, it's going to be 12 characters anyways, and right now there's 15 left, which means somebody's going to get a free entry into the third round. Woo! So one character who might be at a disadvantage could make it to the third round.
Lucky SOB.
Very, very lucky. It could even be Bambi. I think Bambi lived, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Bambi lived.
That would be so funny if it was like Bambi versus the Blob and Bambi beat him.
If Bambi has a chance of making it to the third round. I don't think if he actually fights anyone he will, but he does have a chance of getting that free spot.
Who do you think would win to fight, Bambi or Hero?
Hero.
Bambi, seen Bambi versus Godzilla?
Yes. That was a good one.
How about the Revenge of Bambi versus Godzilla?
This just in, the Blob wins.
They actually have this one. It's like they actually have this one like the son of Bambi kills Godzilla, and Bambi has like a rocket launcher or something, and he kills Godzilla. And
awesome.
And they have like Mecha Bambi. He's like a robot version of the deer, and he kills Godzilla.
Alrighties. Well, I think that does it for this week of the Character Chaos tournament. We had a few upsets, had a few good fights. Did you have fun, Comet?
Loads, and I love it. Looking forward to the next time, dude. This has been a blast. Ha ha ha. But as they always say, they go, WTF! And guess what happens after that?
Everything explodes.
But anyway.
How about you, Pumpkin? Did you enjoy this?
It was joyous.
Very joyous. Alrighties, well that will wrap it up for this week's version.
Yes.
I had a lot of fun.
Yes, but have you heard?
Everybody's heard that the bird is the word.
Yes. And now...
This is where the credits roll. And it's like...
Yeah. No, well, I have my credit roll right here. Here you go. The credits.
There we go.
And the credits roll. Me, Grandmaster Slorg, and the Badmrpumpkin wishes everybody a safe and happy one. So we'll see you next time.
Yay.
Yeah.
Happy Halloween.
Well, that was a lot of fun.
Yep, and now we're done.